Namaskar, welcome to Prakash on Basics. I am Prakash Zog. We've been talking on Indian philosophy and the part known as Poorva Mimansa. But then, where do you get all this information from? The original source is by a Rishi called Jaimini. The name is the same as that of the original Rishi related to the Samaveda. This is something that I had mentioned long time back. His text is known as the Jaimini Mimansa Sutra, and nowadays it is believed that its period is around 700 BC. It's a compilation of a very large number of sutras, 2745 sutras, and there are a number of contributors, but the major contributor seems to be Jaimini. It is divided into 12 chapters, actually 12 plus 4, and there are 60 subparts known as adhikaranas in that. Because there are 12 major chapters, it is also known as the Dwadasha Lakshani Mimansa. That means a text with 12 characteristic chapters. The remaining 4, known as the Sankarsha Kand, deal with a slightly different area related to gods and others. So that's kept usually a bit separate. This Jaimini Mimansa Sutra is a bit difficult and a complex text to understand. So there were a lot of commentaries that were written about. The first and the major one obviously is the one by Shabara Swami, and this is said to be around from a period around 400 AD. But even this is not really very simple to grasp. So there are a number of other commentaries that have come up after this period. As I mentioned some time back, Kumaril Bhatt had put forward some of them, known as the Shloka Vartik, the Tantra Vartik, and the Truptika, as the 3 of the texts that were aligned to the same information. And then his student, who was known as Prabhakar Mishra, wrote a text known as the Bruhati, and both of them had a number of students of their own, and they wrote a lot of texts and books. And since the students of Prabhakar Mishra called him Guru, his opinions and direction of thought is known as the Guru Mat, while that of the previous one, his Guru, is known as the Bhatta Mat because of Kumaril Bhatt. So these are the number of texts and information points from where all this information regarding the Poorva Mimansa comes to the forefront. But as a darshan, it has its own special standing, and as I had previously mentioned, every darshan is expected to cover some 5 or 6 major areas. It must explain what its Jnana Mimansa is, Tattva Mimansa is, Karma Mimansa is, that is, explain the methods of obtaining the knowledge, what are its founding principles, and what is the way in which the action plan or the activities take place. Then it must give its own views about the Veda, the Brahma, the Atma, the origin of the universe, how it is going to be sustained, and how it would come to the end. All these areas must also highlight what are the special attributes introduced by this particular darshan, and it must refute or overcome some of the doubts regarding the other darshans. So this is the way every darshan really is arranged. Naturally, if we have to understand a particular darshan, we must look at all these highlighted points. So let us see the views regarding all these as far as Poorva Mimansa is concerned. The first one is related to the knowledge area. It accepts all the 6 knowledge tools or the pramanas that we have previously discussed a few months back. It accepts the original senior people have accepted the Pratyaksha, Anuman, Upaman and Shabda as the 4 basic pramanas. Prabhakar Mishra, in addition to this, also accepts the Arthapatti type of pramana, and Kumaril Bhatta adds one more, which is Anupalabdhi also, and that makes it the 6 pramanas which I have already explained some time back. So this is one of the darshans which accepts all the pramanas, and in addition there is a little breakup. It believes in what is known as the Swataha Pramanya, self-validation, and Paratah Pramanya, that is certification of the knowledge being correct by some competent knowable authority. So these are the pramanas or the sources of knowledge that the believers or the thinkers of Poorva Mimansa accept. For them, Ved as a verbal testimony, that is Shabda Pramana, is of greatest importance. And what are its founding principles or Tattva Mimansa? The basic principle is what I had mentioned, that proposed by Jaimini in his sutra, Athato Dharma Jidnyasa. This then is the inquiry or study or interpretation or understanding of the Dharma. Dharma as explained through the Vedas, and then Dharma resulting into Karma is the one that is to be treated as the most important. And all that Karma is valid as long as it is approved by the Veda. And then what about the action plan or the Achara Mimansa? That in itself, the Karma itself is the Achara Mimansa. The behavior norms as approved and accepted by the Vedas and then confirmed by the thinkers of the Poorva Mimansa. Then Poorva Mimansa is an astic darshan. The word that the Western philosophy tends to use related to this is that it is said to be orthodox. They accept the authority of the Vedas. In fact, Poorva Mimansa is one of the major supporters of the concept of Vedas. It treats Karma Kand, that is the activity based part of the Vedas, which is the mantra Brahman part, as the most important aspect of the Vedas, and that is the one that must be followed the most. According to Poorva Mimansa, the Vedas are Nitya, that is permanent, indestructible, beyond creation, and for everything the final authority. So even the Rishis are said to be those who have seen them, not created them on their own. They are said to be mantra drashtas, the visualizers, not the creators of the Veda mantras. The Ved is verbal validity, Shabda Pramana, the final authority on Dharma and its related part in terms of Karma according to the Brahmana part of the Vedas. According to them, Upanishads, which is the higher mental involvement, takes a backstage, as knowing the ultimate is less important than the actual actions that are to be taken in our life, in our day-to-day life. And what about the origin? The universe is said to be made out of kana or particles, and dravya, padartha, which is effectively nothing but matter. All these concepts are originally similar to those of the Nyaya and the Vaisheshik philosophies. They are an entity of their own, which have been accepted as they are. And I'll go into details of these actual kanas and padarthas when we talk of those two philosophies. It is the interaction of all these particles that creates life and the world that is around us. And when they separate out or lose their energy, then the system gets destroyed. So there is no need for a Brahma or an Ishvara, a creator or a sustainer or a destroyer. Everything is because of these particles which have been existing all along. Though Gemini at places has accepted a term Pradhan as the prime authority for everything, which is practically similar to the Brahma concept. Every action bears fruit, and the fruit is based on its merit, and that decides the future of what happens to a person in terms of the results and even the things to come later on. So gods have no chance to have any activity or play any role. So according to the initial thinkers of Poorva Mimansa, there is no real need for any godhood or any devatas as they are known. They do not accept the authority or control of the gods, because it is the karma that controls everything. Some karma phal may not be immediate. Karma phal is the result of the karma. You perform a particular yajna and the results may not be immediately visible, and they may not come after just a few minutes of time or a few years of time or in a lifetime. So some yajnas are to be performed for gains that are beyond your lifetime also. Such non-visualized type of benefits or merits have been referred to as adrushta or the apurva, and this in fact is one of the major contributions by Poorva Mimansa to understanding Hinduism. And this karma phal is more like a bank balance of good or bad merit bearing fruit at a later date, even probably next life. And what about the origin, as to how things started off? They don't believe in the prime origin or the ultimate end of everything in the universe. Total creation and total destruction is something that they do not talk of, but they talk of localized creations and calamities, and that can create things or destroy things according to them. And that's something that we always see. We know that things like earthquakes or natural disasters can destroy complete civilizations. And civilizations start off because of water sources and others like the Nile or the Saraswati or the Sindhu and so forth. So most of the civilizations are water based and similar ones. The matter is the one that creates conditions conducive to civilizations, as we know of even today. And it is these natural disasters that many a times, shortages of water and turning off of rivers and so forth, that causes changes in civilizations. So their ideas then have some merit of their own, which is valid and understandable even today. As far as the Atma is concerned, they accept that there is an Atma, but they believe that every individual has his own or her own Atma. So there is not one, but a multiple set of Atmas. I have one and you have one and everybody else has one Atma of his own. They say that Atma is split up into two parts, Chit and Achit. With Chit, the Atma experiences or acquires or gains knowledge, information, all the inputs that are possible. And with Achit part of the Atma, it enjoys the fruits, the results, the outcomes of all this knowledge or input that has previously come in. Their major contribution is in terms of what is known as Karmavad, the dominance of karma, actions that are a cause of everything and are more important than gods. The Yajna rituals based on the Brahman part of the Vedas are the most important according to them. Apurva and Adrushta, which I have explained long back and even mentioned now, are their major contributions. It is not now, but even later, that karma will bear fruit. If not today, tomorrow. So you would find that they have put forward many ideas related to karma. They talk of karma split up into the variety of types, which is known as the Nitya, Naimittik, Kamya, Nishiddha, Prashitta karma, the 5 categories. That's a separate topic of its own. So I'm going to deal with that and explain all that sometime later. So they have classified karma, and according to this, it has also resulted and has been suitably modified later on in terms of the runas, which are the obligations or the debts, and the Pancha Mahayajnas. These are the ones that are more important for us to understand and grasp, and that we will do in our course of time. Then there was one more aspect that they are expected to do. They are expected to refute some of the ideas if they are not according to their beliefs. So they refuted some of the major ideas put forward by other darshans also. They are astic. That means they believe in Vedas as the prime authority, whereas the Buddhas or the Jains or the Charvaks are all Nastics. They do not accept the Vedas at all. They do the Poorva Mimamsakars also don't accept Advaita concept. Advaita is non-dualism, which is a core of Vedanta, that everything is unique and one, and that is the Brahma. But the very fact that Atma is multiple implies that things must be more than one. And then the Vedantins talk of the world or the universe as mithya, false or unreal, whereas the Buddhas talk of it as full of sorrow, and the basis of all life around is related to sorrow. But Poorva Mimamsakars are very frank. They say, don't we enjoy life every time, every minute? In fact, most of us enjoy life at various points, at various instances for most of our lifetime. Sorrows are just a part that separates out things and makes us enjoy life better. So it is not sorrow that controls, but it is joy and the reality of the life and things around us, of the samsara around us, that is more important. All these aspects, the specialized ones like the 16 sanskars and others, are things that have brought Poorva Mimamsa to forefront to a very large extent. It is these that we need to discuss in detail to understand how things are important for us in the future from this past knowledge that has come about. If you have liked whatever I have said, please tell your friends about this. Like and subscribe to this channel. Try and gain a little more knowledge on all these areas if you can spare the time and read up some more books. And I'll come to all those Panchamahayajnas and the 16 samskars, 16 samskars and others, which are a part and parcel of many of the ideas that we must know of. Till we do that, Namaskar.